Hello everyone and welcome to a new SAP IBP release. Today, me and my colleague, we will talk about the 4 most new interesting features in the 2508 release. But first, as always, let's start with an introduction. I'm Thomas, SAP Supply Chain Planning Expert at Flexo, and today I'm accompanied by a face you've previously seen in the previous release.
Hey everyone, this is Shreyas, also from the last video from the What's New series.
And today we're going to talk about these 4 interesting features. First of all, we are going to talk about one big change. It's the harmonized planning area. Secondly, we're going to talk about some AI improvements. Just as everyone, SAP is jumping on that AI trend, so they've made a lot of changes on this topic. Thirdly, we're going to talk about some network aggregation. And then lastly, we're going to talk about segmentation variants within the planner workspace. So I would say let's dive right into it. My colleague is going to explain you all about the harmonized planning area.
Thank you, Thomas. Indeed, as you mentioned, this is a very good upgrade in this release, basically talking about the harmonized planning area. Until now, with the current IBP data model, we use 2 separate planning areas for 2 different applications, basically the SAP IBP 1 for the tactical supply planning of demand, inventory and supply, and the SAP 7F where we did the order-based planning. The idea was basically to build a data model which can combine the applications of both order-based planning and time series planning under one single planning area, and that is what SAP IBP has achieved in this release by releasing the harmonized planning area, which is technically called the SAP IBP 2. What does this mean for the planners? Basically, planners can now use a single unified planning area to do their tactical planning on a long and mid-term horizon using time series planning, and do the operational planning for the mid and short term using live orders with the order-based planning. What are some other benefits of this planning area? Basically, we have a simplified configuration and maintenance because previously we were using 2 different planning areas, so 2 different master data had to be maintained for different applications, whereas now there is one single aligned master data for all applications within the planning area. Second thing is the seamless integration. We are going to use 2 integration tools. First one is the RTI, which is the real-time integration where we pull in master data, orders and stock levels into IBP, and we use the cloud integration tool to pull in transactional data like sales history and other master data from external systems. What is the benefit of connecting with such an integration setup is basically if we as a user also use harmonized or only use harmonized planning area for time series planning, we can still use RTI to pull in live stock levels that can be used in our time series planning. Central application mapping, what does this mean? Basically, now we have a central space where businesses can now modify the business meanings for master data attributes very easily from one single space to all applications within the planning area. Improved planning and reporting efficiency. Obviously, now that we have master data and all transactional data of all business processes in a single umbrella, it's easier to do your reporting in a holistic way as well as detailed way. It's all based on the planner's requirement. Finally, better end-to-end planning process. First thing, when customer adopts the harmonized planning area, they can start off with a very single process and then extend and build on it to other different processes within the planning area. Apart from this, as I mentioned earlier, the strength of the harmonized planning area lies here. It leverages the individual strengths of different applications. For example, time series planning can now use order-based key figures as its input to have a better planning perspective in general. So basically, already with the first release, we can see that harmonized planning area offers a lot to the planners, and given SAP's vision for this, we are very sure and we know that there are a lot of better functionalities coming up. So this is definitely something you would like to have a look at. So interesting things coming up from SAP.
Nice.
Giving it back to you.
Thank you. So I think indeed it's very nice that they're now laying the base layer for something very interesting and very promising to come. So as I said, SAP is continuing with the AI trend, and they have a couple of AI improvements that they made within this release. So let's dive into the 3 most important ones. First is AI-assisted creation of formatting rules. Secondly, they have also made a change on AI-empowered insight within your forecast or your inventory analysis. And thirdly, with the generative AI assistant Joule, simplified job scheduling is now easier than ever. I do need to mention with these new functionalities, the first 2 are available in early adopter mode, and the last one is available with the Joule subscription. So let's dive right into them. The first one is AI-assisted creation of formatting rules. So this is available for you in the Excel add-in, and you can use it using natural language. So do mind that you use the correct language to explain to the AI what exactly formatting you want to apply. So as formatting generally does, this surfaces key insights from large data sets, and it will also enhance clarity, speed, and confidence in a planner's decision-making process. And the most important thing, for the planners, there's no need to worry about all those technical details going on in the background. So let's just apply this to a simple example. We have here a planning view, which is showing you the consensus demand and the customer receipts to fulfill that consensus demand. And we also have the consensus demand shortage key figure in case there are any customer receipts that are not able to fulfill that customer demand or that consensus demand. So let's say, okay, we want to highlight all the cases where our consensus demand shortage is higher than 1. We will select one of the cells within that key figure. We will click on our right mouse button. There will be a planning assistance tab. If you hover over that, you will see another field pop up, which is generate formatting. If you click on that, a box will pop up basically where you can explain to the AI what kind of formatting you want to apply. So in this case, we want to apply a red font to the key figure values that are higher than 1. You type in that formatting rule, you say generate, and voila, a couple of seconds later, within the consensus demand shortage, you see here in this example, we had 2 values which were higher than 1, and they are highlighted in a red font. This is a very simple example, but you can go a lot broader with this. You can compare different key figures, have huge data sets, and have the AI highlight the 5 biggest ones or the 5 smallest ones. You can then change your filter settings, and then the formatting rule will still apply, but then to a new data set. There are a lot of possibilities there that you can explore with this new addition. Secondly, I want to talk about AI-powered insights within forecast or inventory analysis. Firstly, let's talk about the forecast analysis. It will now offer you explanations and recommendations for your forecast results, which will then increase the transparency between the system and between the planner, and then the planner will also have better understanding of those forecast results. This is available for you in the planner workspace or in the Excel add-in, so in both functionalities it is available for you. We have here a small example in the Excel add-in. So basically, say you have run a forecast and you have your results. Just go and stand on your forecast related key figure, click on the right mouse button, open that side panel for the forecast results, and then there you will see a big blue button which says explain, and then you will get a whole list with the whole explanation. They will basically start with an easy to understand summary of your forecast results. They will go then into actionable recommendations that the planner can take to improve those forecast results or to make changes to those forecast results. And then afterwards, they will also end with the in-depth explanation of the formulas that were used or the results that were gathered with that forecast operator. But then do keep in mind that the results that you have shown, if you change certain inputs, that result that came out of it will not be applicable anymore, so do keep that in mind. Then, secondly, you also have now an addition for AI for the inventory analysis. This is then related to safety stocks. So now with the insights, you can identify key drivers very quickly and then generate key insights, which then ensures that your inputs and your outputs of your safety stock align with the strategic goals of your business. So let's apply this to another example, but then now within the planner workspaces. So as you can see, it's applicable in both the UI, the Excel UI, and the planner workspaces. So for example, here we see our safety stock key figures, and then now you can click on your right mouse button and then open the AI assisted inventory analysis, and then it will give you a similar box as you saw in the Excel UI, explaining how it came to that amount of safety stock or the days of safety stock, and then saying, okay, this was the biggest driver of that number, and then explaining all the other possible drivers that it could have on your safety stock results. So I think something very interesting for the planners. Lastly, I want to talk about Joule. Now with simplified job scheduling was never been easier, and the monitoring of it. So because you don't need to switch between apps, if you now schedule a job, you need to have maybe 3 tabs open, one with the template, then one with the job itself, and then one with maybe a filter you want to apply. But with Joule, that's no longer necessary. You can basically just tell Joule whatever job you want to run, and she will provide that for you. So for example, in this case, I want to run one of my saved jobs that I ran yesterday or the day before. You can just tell Joule, I would like to run one of my sales jobs. She will provide you with a list of the most recent ones in the last 24 hours. You can go even further back if you wish to. You can then say, for example, now I want to run the forecast to load job. She will then provide you a list with all the parameters of that job, saying, okay, it will be this copy operator, it will be this operated with this filter for this time period. And then if everything is good for you, you can then at the bottom click on run the job. Joule will then schedule or run the job, and you can even go further into details if you wish to. If then, for example, you run the job and then a couple of minutes later you want to check the status of it, you can just ask Joule, give me the status of the job that you ran before, and then she will provide you a link with all those, with even more details, but it will provide you with the status of the job. In this case, it was finished, but you can go into further detail if, for example, a job had warnings or had an error, for example. So I think, yeah, with AI, with some new AI improvements, they're very good. And I am very interested in what's more to come with the generative AI.
Yes, indeed, Thomas, I completely agree with you with the AI developments that has been done by SAP. It's literally like you're talking to the system now, so it's really amazing to see that. Moving on to the network aggregation. Basically, network aggregation is something that we use in our SNOP process, where we try to calculate the average cost or carbon emissions that we are incurring of a specific product at a specific location. So as I just mentioned, these calculations are limited to the location product level until now, but now with the new release, it has been now extended towards the customer product level as well. What does this mean now is basically that you can now have a profitability visibility at your customer level and also your carbon emission values. Given your business priorities and also sustainability commitments, I think this is a very good upgrade in the network aggregation operator, where you can finally have a greater visibility onto your supply plan and make targeted improvements. So within your technical setup, you can see that the cost and carbon roll-up profiles have new fields added to it, where you can input your customer assets, customer transportation lane cost rates or carbon emission values, and finally you get your aggregated unit cost or carbon emission values at your customer specific value.
Okay, nice. I think
so. With this, I give it back to you.
Thank you. I think with for some customers who have included their customer demand within their network, they're going to be very happy to hear about this.
Yes.
And lastly, I've got to talk a bit more about the segmentation variants for your planner workspaces. So within your planner workspace, you have your workspace, you have your workbook, you have your variants, but then now you have an additional layer to configure and to make it a lot more easier to eliminate the planner to scan large or unfiltered data sets. And it also, of course, enhances the speed of your planning processes. So let's immediately apply this to an example. We have, for example, this workspace. Within that, we have a workbook of the demand planning, and then for demand planning workbook, we have two different variants. First of all, we have the wireless speaker variant, which is just a normal variant. No segmentation variants have been applied to this. So if we then click on this one, you will see it will generate a larger data set, with then the planner needed to drill down further if need to. If he just wants to view at one customer, we only have a filter here for time periods for the next 30 weeks and for a certain product group. But if the planner says like, okay, I want to have that all, but I just want to watch one or two customers, then they would need to apply that filter manually now. But now with segmentation variants, that's no longer necessary. So if we have the same workbook, but now let's take a look at the headphones variants. For this one, we have defined a segmentation variant on the customer group and the customer level. So if you then click on it, you can see here, it will go in another tab saying, okay, these are the customer groups. You have the industry customer group and the private customer group, and then within each customer group you have all the customer IDs. And then let's say, okay, I want to only watch the data for one customer. You can click on customer one in this case, and the filter will be applied automatically. So then now you have a lot less bigger data sets, which the planner then can easily check or make changes if necessary, and use other functionalities with much more detail. So for example, here you can then apply your contextual navigation if you want to, and then the details will already be applicable to the filter of the customer group and the customer ID. So I think this opens a lot of ways for the planner to drill down even faster into large amount of data sets. So I think that was everything. I think we covered the four most interesting topics. I hope you found everything very interesting. If you want to know more, I would suggest you go and check out our landing page. There everything from this release or previous releases will be summarized. And if you want to get in touch with us yourself, then I would say go check out our LinkedIn page and you let us know what we need to do for you to improve your planning processes. The last thing I want to do is thank you for listening to the video, and we will see you guys next time. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.